Good morning, collective, and welcome back to Altruistic channel. It's Al, and today's video is going to center around a really wonderful topic called the Aquarian age, and some of the things that I see coming down the road that I think would be really fun for us at a turquoise level of leadership. You know, a blend between spirituality and the everyday mundanity of life coming together and doing new things for society in ways that raise the vibration of the earth. I thought that this would be a really great opportunity to speak to the incoming era of the Aquarian age in a way that is business oriented and that may connect the two worlds in a much more cohesive manner. So one of the things I wanted to explore with you all is through my own example, because typically when you relate to other people, you want them to resonate with you on a soul level, right? That's kind of where we're all heading. And so for today's little exercise, I was going to use my own venture that I'm trying to get off the ground here, of getting the show that deals with legacy building and the topics that the people want to hear their own voices reflected in and to feel included in the ongoing conversations. And so to use that as a perfect example, I was trying to think of what would be a great way to tell you or to express to you all a really great new way of thinking about business in this new era that's unfolding. And so I thought I'd use the example of the whole show that I'm trying to get off. There's a couple of them that are out there. But for this one, what I wanted to share with you is the sell. So sometimes when people think of doing things where they need to go against the old establishment, or not against it, but they need to work with the old establishment, and they have an innovator mind or a visionary mind. And so they think of things in different contexts than the normal everyday person would. I wanted to share with you all what I am going to do to sell my product, my project. And what I decided to do was focus on advertising. And the reason I did that is because it's unorthodox and it's a little bit wacky, but it's something that is like a vignette that I've been able to capture, that I know frame for frame what is going to be shot. And it includes a Super Bowl commercial, which is unbelievable. And it's the title, opening credit, and then one other ad. And I'm going to use those three to go with the Bible, what they call the show Bible. And so I'll send the Bible out to the person that's interested or the investor that's interested, present them that, and then for either of the two shows, and then also go ahead and, when I meet with them, sell them by selling the advertising portion of it, or what will make the product, what will make the project really excel. And so I wanted to share that with you, because I'm not going to tell you obviously here what they are, but they were divinely given to me, and they are amazing, right? But I wanted to share with you all that at a turquoise level, the idea of thinking in different ways, something unorthodox, because now the thing that's going to sell everything for you or for your future and how to build your legacy will be built around being unique. What is it that your soul wants to convey to a world that is changing? How do you break through the mundanity of it all, or how do you get through the vanilla while you're chocolate? And how to express the chocolate aspects of your venture or your creation to a world that's very vanilla. Like everybody's trying to be very hidden, and not hidden, but they're trying to be more like not noticeable. Like they're trying to keep their head low. And I'm the complete opposite. I'm just like, hey, we're going to do this, and let's change the world, and we're going to do that. And so I thought for the turquoise leadership, I would venture into the topic of why I decided to choose the particular advertising to focus on. And here's my thinking on it, is because we are going through a restructuring, right? We can all tell that the way that things used to be isn't working, and so it's kind of all coming down around us. Instead of focusing on the negative, I decided to think in a visionary mind and see things from a different perspective. And so I realized that in order to bridge the two worlds, because I'm very altruistic, hello, Altruistic channel, that I would connect it in a very logical way, but that still allowed my creation. And so that's why I chose to iron out the advertising, the three commercials that would go. And specifically, the Super Bowl commercial alone should sell the thing, and so should the opening credits for one of the shows. And so what it is the fact that I decided to look at it from where some of the more materialistic people who want to see a return on investment could visualize how it would sell itself, and then I would be able to really quickly sell the rest of it. And so I thought that would be very unique, and it would allow my soul to then create, and so it would be a blend of the two worlds. And I thought that would be a really great vehicle for the collective at large to start focusing their energy in that way. We know that it's really hard to compete in a world that is built on materialism. And so now we're trying to connect the soul and remember that we're spiritual beings living in temporary bodies. And so if we're going to express that and bridge those two, then I realized that one of the best ways to do it is through creation meets the real world. And so I wanted to share that with the Turquoise leadership because I thought that would be an interesting conversation to keep on going. If you had an amazing opportunity to really go for it, what would you do in order to ensure that it's the best effort forward? And so for me, I decided to think outside of the box. And one of the great avenues that presents for me is the ability to then keep creating other things. Because once you have once I realized what the advertising would be, when I got this particular scenario in my mind, everything came into place very quickly. Because, as you all know, for those of you who've never been in entertainment, because this is still new to me, but one of the things about entertainment, when you have what I call entertainment with values, is that sometimes it's a little bit harder to get through the door because people don't want to hear values. They don't want to hear about spirituality. And trying to get into the networks that do speak to that is a little complicated because you have to compete with other minds. So you have to focus yourself on being the return of investment, someone that they can see long-term effects to. And so in order for me to bridge that gap, what I needed to do is focus on what made me and why I am a return on investment. And what better way to do that than to show them literally how the commercials or ads would run and what that will do for business immediately and how that will bring in business. And you become, what I would say is, focus your energy going forward on becoming the black hole or becoming the white hole, whatever. I mean, that sounds very sexual to me, but naughty boy. But how does that bring gravity towards you? How does that bring people towards you in a world that wants you to compete? And I realize that sometimes the best way to compete is to not compete at all and to just do you. And so thinking outside the box really opened up an avenue for me to do that. And so for the Turquoise leadership, when you're trying to get into something new like I am with the entertainment business and you don't really know anything about it, some of the greatest strength you can have is to visually do a storyboard. A lot of people are, like, if you're in advertising, you do storyboards or you do these things. But when you don't have that mindset and you have your own mindset, the best thing you can do is create the canvas from which all things will fit into it. And so for me, I realized that the best thing to do is have it written down in what they call the show Bible, which I did, and with the log line and all that stuff, and that's ready to go. Find a way to reach them against all odds, which is why I'm doing it through this vehicle, through just directly putting stuff out there and keeping the really, really best parts for the interaction. And then what is the selling moment? How will you, in less than 30 minutes, sell the product? And so that's where the advertising came in for me. And so I realized for you all, one of the great things that we can do is to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and to hear no's, because you're not worried about the no, you're worried about the yes. But when you're trying to be in a market that's very competitive, what I've noticed for myself is I've gotten more attention in my life when I don't care. Because people they know that we're going to have to compete for ratings and all that stuff, unless you find the right person who is just going to be an ongoing investment. And that's one of the great things about being unique, and what I wanted to share with you all at this Turquoise level is where we're going. It's going to be those unique identifying marks that you represent in your personality or in your own nuance. And that's why I'm so transparent, is because I want everybody to follow the process in order to really grow. Because it's a manner of thinking that allows others to prosper with you, and we are all about raising the vibration of humanity. And so I decided that to create the canvas and to think in an unorthodox way allowed me to literally have a very quick succession meeting with people that sells itself. And I know people are like, oh, that's impossible. I'm like, I am impossible. We're all impossible. It's weird that we're even here. And we have this great opportunity. So I wanted you all to start thinking in those terms. If you have an opportunity to go into the world and try something and just be brand new about it and just break through the mold and do something really, really amazing for humanity, then you have to think in terms of long-term strategy. And sometimes the best thing to do is to just put away the competitive nature, put away the old way of doing things, and just go out and do you. And do it really big, and make sure that it's true for who you are. And then that will allow the canvas to create itself, and then that will be the selling moment. Because for a very long time I was studying like public speaking, and which is really important, don't get me wrong. I have a big crush on a man out of Florida who is a really amazing speaker who I actually have interacted with. He's a very brilliant man. I actually went to one of his seminars. And what I'm saying though is that there's that vehicle. So you know how Oprah once said, when opportunity meets preparation, it's good to go. And so I've spent my life doing that. But when I got to a certain point where I just kept running into a wall, where one of the biggest defeats that I was having is I just wasn't interested in the old way of doing things, because I'm all about the new way of doing things. So how do you bridge that? And it was through creation. It was through creating a canvas. And so I decided to go with the show Bible, keeping and preserving the old way, giving that honor and enough attention. For me, it's 5 pages. I didn't do 7 pages because it has to do with, the show ideas for each topic and stuff like that, and who would be ideal in those situations. But I wanted to focus my energy on what would sell when I got to go. And it literally is going to be a very quick meeting about, well, they're going to ask questions, and we're going to talk about budget and stuff like that. But I'm talking about just the ideology behind it was to focus my energy on the creation portion of it and give less time, but detailed time, quality time to something that I may not enjoy as much is equally important as the creation process. But in my brain, and what I'm sharing with you all at the turquoise level, is in my brain as a creator, by creating the canvas in this our advertising type of area, it allowed the canvas to present itself to me so that everything fell into alignment, and so that I can answer all questions about it because I created the imagery first. And from that, I was able to go back and do the Bible, the show Bible. And I thought that was really, really a wonderful new way of doing things. And so when people look at me and they say, how on earth do you plan on being successful by just putting your stuff out there? People can take it. And I go, because it begets creation. As a creator, and especially turquoise leadership or whatever leadership that you belong to, I'm focusing on turquoise leadership because I'm looking at tomorrow. I'm very present in today, and I see what's about to unfold, and so I want to make sure that we are preparing ourselves for, as the dominoes fall. But that doesn't mean that we don't still live in present day. But because I see long term, I wanted to show you all that, yeah, it looks like people, so if people take the idea, it still gets created. That's what creators do. They create legacies built on creating for others. That's kind of how the ripple effect goes. But I wanted you guys to understand why I have a specific way of doing things is because I'm different than other people. And everyone who sees me sees the return investment. But it's about timing it to some degree. And I get that. It can be a little frustrating when you're in a situation like I am. But I also honor the fact that it's divine timing. It might be like, I don't know, it could be like anything from like people trying to get investments or whatnot and trying to see if this would even be viable. It's always the one person who says yes that we focus on. It's never the people who say no. I could get no's up the wazoo. I've gotten no's a lot in my life. And I still am here. And I've had a great, wonderful life. And now it's time to share that. But I had to do it in a way that spoke Al's, Al. And I wanted to share that with you all, and I wondered if you guys ever have really considered this new age of Aquarian, where we are going to have to start thinking in terms of thinking out of the box and creating something so unique for ourselves that it stands alone, and that other people find that more intriguing than the old way, and how to bridge that by still honoring tradition, but by thinking in terms of long term. And I wanted to bring that to you guys today as a Friday type of message, because everybody's like probably having an informal day and probably a half day. But for me, I just wanted to share the joy of what it was like for me to find this as my means of creation, because it just made everything so much easier for someone like me who's very, very calculus driven. Like I'm a Mayan. And so for me, it's all about numbers that tell stories. It's a literature piece. It's not just a sequence. But the way that breaks down in the real world is visionary. I think in terms of long-term vision. And so I have to create canvas boards. And instead of it just being a storyboard that tells a linear story, it's a whole piece. It's a painting that I create and to set to music typically. And that sells the product of itself because it creates emotional attachment to the imagery, and it creates the purpose through the throw line. And I thought that would be incredibly powerful for all of you to understand, so that you start thinking in terms of this. Because when I get going, I'm going to be looking for people who think outside the box for some of these ventures. I'm going to be looking for returns on investments myself, and I'm going to be looking for long-term success through people that work with me. And I just wanted to share with you all how that began and how easy it can be for different brains to function. You know, the ones that are more traditional and are more mathematical and statistical and very materialistic, that's fine. We need them. We need to work together. They probably would understand more the Bible, the show Bible. And so I made sure I spent time on that. But I started by honoring myself by creating the canvas first. And so as we go into this turquoise leadership, that's one of the great things about meetings or whatnot that we'll be having, is the fact that you will always know what's the overall arc to what we're trying to do, because it will be already handed to you in the Bible. But then when you see the videos, it'll be like 3 videos that you'll see, and you will get it all. And it's something that will invest in on itself. And I even have a plan on how to get investment to make the video, to pay back the videos. It's just a singular investment at first on our end to produce the one video, and then sell that and send that, and then get the interest and so forth. It's a very great, it's a wonderful way of doing things, but it's new. And I'm willing to take the gamble because I know that there's someone out there who sees this and it's going to be like, okay, he's ready. Because that's the one thing that everybody wants to know, is that, are you ready? And the truth is that you have to make it so where they can see it in your eyes. And that's what I want to say to all of you who see this. When you dare to dream big, can they see what you see? And will others be able to invest into that as an experience that is worthwhile? And so I did it in a different way. I focused and I honored my soul's purpose, which is to create. It's here to create beauty and to raise the vibration. And the way that I did that is by first honoring my own vibration, which is to create the canvas. And so I did it to the advertising, and it connects to the bottom line for the return on investment for what they see as a really good project. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you like, share, and subscribe to my stuff, guys. But if anything else, if this is where we part, just think outside the box. We are in the Aquarian age, and that means that we're innovators, we're visionaries, we're thinking of things in terms of creation and of bringing newness to the world and raising the vibration of humanity. That's it for me, guys. Have a great day. Bye.